What up, Joe?
Not much. What up with you?
You know, nothing.
Just hanging in there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. What's up with you?
Not much. Just work. More work.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's true.
Organizing my screen here,
I'm sorry.
which is really not anything at all.
Good to hear. It's good to hear.
Isn't it though?
Yep.
Yeah. This past week's just been a pretty boring week.
This past week has sucked.
Really?
Yeah, man. There's nothing going on.
Yeah. That there isn't. Can't even say that I've watched anything new or anything like that.
Nope.
What
Nope.
have I been watching?
What
I
have
feel
you
like
been
I
watching,
did
Joe?
finish something. I think I finished Jack Ryan. Not last week, but the week before.
Yeah. How was it?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. That's all I can really say.
Okay. I mean, those
Mostly because I can't remember a whole lot much more of it.
those movies
You know.
or those shows don't or that series should say has never let me down. So
No. Action. Fun.
yeah, yeah.
I did think it was funny when I finished the last episode. It was like, would you like to watch Shadow Recruit? And I had to think for a second. I was like, oh shit, that's that Chris Pine Jack Ryan movie that I never saw.
Oh yeah, Shadow Recruit
Yeah.
with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
That was supposed to start, if I'm not mistaken, that was supposed to start like a massive franchise, and then it just didn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's cool.
Because if I recall right, it wasn't very critically acclaimed.
No, it was panned pretty badly.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are a little weird, did you know that they're making a Galaxy Quest TV series? Or reportedly making a Galaxy Quest TV series?
Oh, it's popping back up, huh?
Yep, it's popping back up for Paramount Plus. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of details about it. I think this article from Engadget mentioned a couple days ago that I read it that they were trying to get the original cast to come back. Obviously, not Alan Rickman. That'd be awkward.
It'd be very strange.
It would be very strange. Uh, but that was about it. I will admit that I was slightly excited for it. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I love that movie." And then I realized, like, what the fuck would that show even be? And the more I thought about it, the more I don't want it. Would it
Yeah.
just be an extension of the original show?
So
Somehow the actors would just get pulled back into space and then have to play, you know, whatever version of their TV selves.
I remember reading a thing about it a long time ago, and their whole idea of it was supposed to be. I think you're right. I think what it was like literally the news broke of like the humans, like
First contact, they're like this is real type thing.
yeah, and it's supposed to be basically all these like outraged aliens seeing likenesses of them on the TV program
Hmm.
and coming after them as like, oh, you slant, like I can't believe you said you did this to us or whatever. And so it was basically like a recurring like monster of the week thing where like these aliens mistook those as real
Hmm.
and came after the humans.
And see, that sounds like on face value, that sounds funny. But then when you really think about it, how long could you milk something like that?
Yeah. If you said that was the sequel movie,
that would be great because it sounds like a funny premise. And
Yep.
you have a just beginning and an end right there. But
But-
how do you stretch that out into multiple seasons?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I will totally admit that this was something that I was very excited for and then very not excited for. It was
Yeah.
a roller coaster of emotions reading this thing of just like, oh, I love that shit. I love that movie. Oh, this wouldn't be very good. How do you turn that into a series?
Because if you think about it, if you wanted to make it more of a series, it would end up being like what's that show we really like from
The Jackal. Is it the Jackal?
no.
Jackal.
the TV show. It would start off as a Star Trek spoof by Seth MacFarlane.
Oh yeah, that came to mind immediately, and I'm spacing out on the name. The Orville.
Orville, yeah,
Yeah,
because that show's
the
fantastic.
That's the perfect spoof of Star Trek because it is Star Trek, but it's a more realistic, honestly, Star Trek. I need to watch that. The new season dropped sometime at the beginning of the year, didn't it? Or
Yeah, on
did it
Hulu.
last year.
End of
Never
last year, I
watched
think.
it. But then again, it's on Hulu, right?
It is, yeah.
Is it on anything else?
No, because it was a Hulu. It moved from Fox to Hulu because of the Disney acquisition.
Yeah, I don't have Hulu. I maybe find it other ways.
I'm sure it's on where I don't want to say you steal stuff, but on that Plex server your brother has access to.
I don't steal things. If things just magically appear on the app, that's not my fault.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're stealing it, but that
That's
Plex
what-
server
yeah.
your brother has access to.
But that's what I
probably has
mean. Like, I might have to find it other ways.
it.
Plex.
Yeah. Plex.
Sorry, I had something in my throat.
Yeah.
I meant to say Plex.
The word Plex was in your throat.
It's perplexing. Anyway, I saw that and was interested and then not. What else do I have here? Not a whole lot, like, ground, like things we could talk a lot about. Apparently, the James Gunn movie, Superman movie, is moving ahead, but they still don't have a Superman. Obviously, when they say moving ahead, that probably just means that they're writing a script for it, or actually shows here that didn't load earlier. That's cool. A tweet from James Gunn showing the
Cover page for the script.
cover page of the script. Yeah,
He put that on Superman Day, which was
oh, that's cool.
yes.
That's probably what day that I read this on then, April 18th.
Yeah. I was like, that wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. Yeah.
That was the day before. You know what? Time is a construct that is just it melts together after you get to a certain age.
Yeah. Is that what happens, Joe?
Yeah, all days just melt together after a certain age.
That's fair. I mean, I'm
so
not
that's
saying you're
interesting.
wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It looked like you had something to say or a sneeze. I wasn't quite sure.
No, I went to look at my. I could have swore I had stuff saved, and I don't. So I don't know if it's not moving over. Hold on, let me look at the old phony phone app here real quick.
More stuff about Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Superman. I don't know why I said Star Wars.
No,
no. One thing I didn't care for about this article from Uprocks, which is James Gunn's Hold on, I have to move you. Superman movie is up and running, but who is playing Superman? They suggested Chris Pratt.
Yeah, so
I don't really care for that choice. Not anything against Chris Pratt personally, or even as an actor. It's just I kind of would want to see someone else.
yeah,
Maybe not even like a big name star in the role.
yeah, I agree with you. Because for two reasons. One is like Chris Pratt doesn't really fit the mold for Superman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that, but he doesn't. But the other thing too is logistically, you need someone who is gonna be around for 10 plus years after their movie is made,
Right.
because they're looking at like a long time with this, right? Like
Mhm.
we're talking like if you go back and you look at like Iron Man 1, right?
Mhm.
Robert Downey Jr. wasn't young but he was younger.
Right.
Because we're talking what, 20 years now.
God, don't do that.
So like, you got to think like they're looking at longevity.
Yeah.
So like, it needs to be somebody who is young-ish, but also I would say unknown for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want anything overshadowing it, right? But also,
Mm-hmm.
you want to build a star. Like, you want to prove a star, like Chris Hemsworth, for example, right? Chris Hemsworth was not unknown by any stretch of the imagination. Was he as popular as he was after he debuted as Thor? No, he was massive at that point. Like, it just kept going. That's the kind of thing they need to find. They need to find the next Chris Hemsworth, I think, because you need to have somebody who is, a good enough actor to be believable as this person in both roles, as Clark Kent and Superman, but also have that buildable star power where you can build, because like, just like they did with again, I don't like comparing the two, but it's hard not to do. You need your big like your big characters to be the linchpin for all those. So when they do come together, it's not just like one person or one character being like the central. It needs to be more of that Justice League. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be that cohesive team type thing, and not just like on screen, but the characters themselves need to be that. So when you do the bigger group movie, you are getting that, like what was in Endgame is what I'm trying to get at. Like those last movies where like everyone had their role to play and it was like this big thing. So you don't have that. Like, I guess I know they're not looking to interlace the movies like to be sequels to each other versus like standalone stories that those characters can then come together for a bigger story. So you're not falling into the trope of what Joe hates about the MCU movies is they seemed all to be tied to one thing, so they're pushing a narrative that doesn't have to do with the story.
Mm-hmm.
Where, to your point, I believe you said many times, that would be a better like stinger scene in mid credits, end credits thing, where you don't need to have the plot of the movie be that. You need to have a, and yeah, you can sprinkle in Easter eggs because it is a conjoined world, but you don't need the plot of Captain America 2 to be pushing, or Captain America 3 pushing the whole Avengers split because of Civil War type thing. You need to have more of it be a Captain America 3 movie.
Yeah.
Because like Captain America 2, obviously, arguably one of the best MCU movies of the whole bunch,
Mm-hmm.
was a true sequel to Captain America. And yes, it did have ties to the bigger overarching story, but not the Thanos overarching story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was more of a building. And yes, I know they used that for Civil War. No wrong, Civil War was amazing, but it wasn't a Captain America movie. It should have been just called Avengers Civil War.
Right.
And had Cap have its own third movie, I think would have done justice.
Yeah.
And that third movie should have been him as outside of everything, like leading up to his reveal
Show
in
us what he's doing leading up to not Civil War, Endgame.
before Endgame,
Before
Infinity
That's
War.
what I mean, leading up to it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden when
Obviously, they've been underground for a while, and what have they been doing underground? They had to have been doing something.
exactly, yeah. So that would have been a better use of a Captain America 3 versus making it Civil War. It should have been a fallout from Civil War, like you were
Yes.
saying. But that's what I get at. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, when you come to the DC movies, I don't want to sacrifice a sequel to make essentially the only thing Civil War did was split them up so the heroes weren't together when Infinity War started, is really what happened. And I'm not saying it's a piss poor way of doing it, because I do like those movies, but and I've said this before to you as well as I think on the show, I don't like the fact that you bring them together just to fracture them. for
That
no
would
other.
happen basically after every single Avengers movie.
Yeah, it's like I get it. They have separate movies, right, and they have different lives to live, but splitting them up like that is just a dumb way of doing it. But who am I to say that? But back to the DC things, I think they need to find a bunch of relatively unknown or less likely or less used actors to be these, but they do need them to be on the younger side. When I say younger, I'm talking like late 20s, early 30s.
And that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Because you are looking at a 10 to possibly 20-year role that you're going into, right? Like if this does well, if they do a good job of this, and you're looking at matching the success of the MCU up until Endgame, that 20-year run with fucking 174 different movies or whatever,
Right.
you need to have someone who doesn't have something else going on that's like, Chris Pratt, for example, didn't have really anything else going on. He did a few things. He did like the what's that movie you don't like?
That movie I don't like.
The war movie.
Jurassic World.
Well, no, you like Jurassic World. You didn't like Jurassic World.
2, Jurassic World Harder.
Yeah, whatever that one was.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Dominion. No, that was the third
No,
one.
what's the war movie he did that you didn't like?
The war movie
The SEAL Team one.
Oh, I didn't care for Hurt Locker.
I thought it was the one you didn't like. Catherine Bigelow movie you didn't like too, or maybe did you like that one?
Wasn't that Catherine Bigelow? No, Catherine Bigelow was Locker Room. That was
The Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker, the Locker Room.
What was the one that Chris Pratt did? The war movie. It was the
Well, he did that Future one on Amazon.
No. This was old. This
I
is
like
way
that
before.
one.
I do like that one too. No, I'm talking way before. He was when he was still on Parks and Recs.
A war movie that
God damn it, Joe.
fat Chris Pratt did.
Well, he wasn't fat at the time because he did that for Parks and Recs. God damn it, Joe.
I'm sorry, I can't keep track of all the movies I don't like.
It wasn't Wanted because that wasn't the one I'm talking about.
Is he in Wanted?
Zero Dark 30.
Oh, Zero Dark 30. Yeah. Well, what was the reason why I didn't like that movie? I don't remember now.
Well, I think you had the same problem you had with Hurt Locker, where it just didn't seem like
Realistic.
yeah.
Like it's supposed to be based off of real things, but it was just like this is so unrealistic.
Yeah. So that was the movie I'm talking about. He did that. Like he was like in small roles up until then. Like he did. I mean, looking at these first. Well, I don't even know what Cursed Part 3 is. He played Devin in a short film. But like Strangers with Candy, I don't remember him being in that movie. Wanted, he was the guy who got his face bashed in by the keyboard. At the beginning.
Forgettable role.
Yep. Bride Wars, which I can't even think of what that movie is. Jennifer's Body. Honestly, that movie is fucking terrible. I don't care what anyone says, and I don't remember him in that movie, so probably because I try to wipe that from my consciousness. He was in Moneyball, which I know I saw, but I don't remember him being in.
Didn't see it either.
I remember liking that movie, but like, I don't know sports enough to care about the history.
Well, that was the Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill movie, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it looked good because of those two,
yeah.
but I never got around to watching it.
It was a good movie. I mean, I didn't know anything about that whole story, so it didn't hold any relevance to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was in 5 Year Engagement, another arguably terrible movie. And then Zero Dark 30 he starred in, obviously. And then I'm not going to bring up movie 43 because that cast was way too fucking big to be talked about. Then he did in the same year, which is mind-blowing, but obviously, like, clearly, like, they're two different things. He had the Lego Movie and Guardians of the Galaxy. And so, like, from there, he has just been a massive character, right? Like, he's been in a lot of different things. And the thing I'm getting at is the fact that, like, if you have a person, Chris Pratt is an example, who's a relatively unknown, and you come up and he's, like, awesome, and people are like, oh, yeah, he's awesome, then he's going to start getting all this work, right? But if you have someone who's established, he probably already has, he and she, I should say, they probably already have a bunch of stuff that they could be doing that could delay what you're making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously with Guardians, there was a plan set. We didn't know at the time the breadth and the vastness that was going to be the MCU. Never in my wildest dreams would have I thought that we would have seen what we saw.
Right.
Even though they told us in the beginning, like, hey, we're doing things. But like, you got to plan, like, hey, like if what James and Peter are doing is gonna happen, where these characters can be across multiple movies, TV shows, video games, animated, whatever, right? You need to have someone with an open schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're gonna run into some real big problems. And unless you build your contracts, I'm pretty sure like Disney did, where like, hey, these are like, we are planning you to be in 6 things.
Mm-hmm.
So work around that, but this is going to be your priority. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to need to be your first thing. So I think finding someone... Oh, remember how terrible Passengers was?
Nope, because I don't think I ever saw it.
The one with Jennifer Lawrence? I thought you saw that one.
Nope.
Oh, it was not good. Don't watch it.
Unless maybe I did see it and I just don't remember it. Like,
Yeah.
I blocked it out.
Like that movie Life. Remember how terrible that was?
Oh, wait, Jennifer Lawrence Passengers. I was thinking of Plane. Okay, no, I did see that one with you guys. It's the space one where he basically tricks her into loving her.
Loving him?
To loving him.
Yeah, and then you find out that he's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that one.
She still ends up with him anyway because that's what would happen.
Yeah, right? Not just fucking murder, death, kill. There's no one around to see her fucking toss his body into space.
Right.
Anywho, coming back to the point is,
yeah,
I think they probably, I mean, people saying, oh, they don't have any cast yet. Yeah, they probably don't. Right. But also, as we know, not everything is completely known by the industry. It was going on. Cause like you see, we see articles where it's like, so-and-so joined the cast of a movie and the movie comes out in like a month and a half.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they didn't just join the cast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's impossible because that movie should be done filming and is in deep editing at that point in marketing. So, like, you're not adding scenes. You're not Christopher Plumbing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You're not reshooting a whole movie just to replace an actor. But you got to think, like, they have a short list that they're probably going after, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably are going to be taking auditions, right? They're going to be looking for people. They're doing casting because they don't want to land on someone prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also talking about a movie that's coming out in like 2 years.
Right.
So like, bro,
gotta get going.
Yeah, should probably kick this up a little bit. But I guarantee you, behind the scenes, there's a very short list, and there's probably already been auditions done.
Definitely.
Because I guarantee you, the power and depth that James Gunn has in the industry is way deeper than most people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably already sent out the feelers. And it's one of those things where like they didn't publicly go out to a fucking agency and be like, hey, come audition for Superman. They probably sent out invites. What?
That's a good way to leak things.
Yeah, you know. Because, I mean, obviously we knew they were going to be doing something, but we didn't know what was happening. And obviously we didn't know this is where they were going. It all kind of came as a shock for the most part. Mainly because right before the announcement, Henry Cavill came back as Superman. So everyone's like, oh shit, hell yeah. And then obviously they found out like that's like, bruh, not
happening.
Nah.
Poor Henry.
And, you know, I think it's actually better for him now because he can do other things. It sucks because, like, we never got to finish that, but we also never got to finish Batfleck stuff. We're barely going to be able to finish Aquaman stuff, probably. We're probably not going to ever really finish the Flash stuff with the current Flash, mainly because he's a fucking lunatic.
Right.
I know he apologized, but also, like...
Still, I don't care. You're doing weird stuff.
Yeah, bro.
An apology doesn't really help.
Yeah.
Just need to kill you off in your own movie and then bring in somebody else if we continue things on.
Well, and the part... I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, I was talking with Matt. the problem with it is they built in the movie multiple Barry Allens,
Right.
and
So
they're
they can
all
just
played
replace
by
them.
well, yeah, but they're all played by Ezra Miller.
Oh, I thought at least one of them would be the TV series one.
No, well, there's rumors that Grant Gustin is going to make an appearance, but like more of a cameo, like a Speed Force cameo,
Mm-hmm.
where like he's running through the Speed Force and like because there's
see
a
him.
I want to say it's Flashpoint in the Flashpoint book where he's making his return back to his universe,
Mm-hmm.
and when he's running through the Speed Force, he sees glimpses of everybody attached to the Speed Force through the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a version of him, like multiple versions of him. There's other ones where he doesn't exist, and like there's no Barry Allen, blah blah blah. So there could be that kind of thing where like he eventually gets repowered up, if he ever gets depowered. I don't know how they're gonna do it in this movie. And he runs back through the Speed Force, and he sees, again, this is a rumor because it's based on comic book, sees variations of himself through the multiverse, and one of them would be Grant Gustin's Flash from the TV show.
I want one of the other ones to be Velvet Flash.
Velvet Flash, yeah.
Yeah. Or Velour Flash, whatever you want to call it.
Velour Flash.
If you don't know what I'm talking about one of the first Flash movies ever made.
TV shows,
Back in the
sir.
early 90s. TV shows? Yeah, that's right.
Well,
It was a TV show.
TV
It was
movie
TV show.
into a show, but that's how I used to do those things.
Yeah. Way back in the early 90s.
Yeah, it's a terrible show.
I loved it.
Of course you
And
would.
again, I also loved the original Captain America as well. So
Yeah, they're all terrible.
they're not good,
No.
but they're bad good. Right?
They are.
Yeah, he says right.
Yeah, I was gonna say no, but you're right. They are. There's an entertainment level to them, but there's also like you got to look at like they were trying to do things they were wrestling way above their weight class.
Definitely.
Like it's a very ambitious thing to do, and they're definitely trying to capitalize on the popularity. But it's hard to do those things back then because like
Yeah.
there's nowadays it's hard to do. You know what I mean? Like they still struggle to this day to do some of those things and make it look good on screen, and they sacrifice some things to make it on screen, because they know how difficult it still is because it's just so inhuman to do those things. Obviously because they're superhuman.
Right.
And it's hard to translate that because you can do anything on paper, right? It's the problem with books. It's the problem with comic books is unless you animate it, which is a tired thing to do, in the fact that for some reason they still can't do properly because every time DC comes out with a new animated movie, it doesn't live up to what it was. Hardly ever. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, it doesn't really live up to it. But like it's hard to adapt that and make it realistic, or make it realistic enough to be. I mean, obviously, you don't want it realistic because it's superhero stuff, but to make it believable on screen where it looks like a human being's flying, or two people are fighting while mid-air, or whatever the fucking sequence is you're trying to do. So I mean, back in those days, they tried to do as simple as possible. Like when he went to run real fast, they just blurred out everything around him.
Yeah.
Or in Captain America, when he goes to throw his shield, you don't actually see him throw it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the old movie I made you guys watch, the first one, not the arguably the better of the two, which is hard to say, but the first one, when they did it and you could see it like on a wire, it just made me laugh. Yeah. It's like it's not even going that fast, It's like, oh god.
That's the one too when he had like a Captain American motorcycle.
Yeah, dude, that was great.
Yeah, I remember watching that I think once, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
like
fucking.
the other one I have watched multiple times, but yeah, I remember watching that first one once and just being like, wow, that's awful.
Yeah, dude, with the clear shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, because he like attached it to the front of the motorcycle or something like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Real bad.
I really.
Speaking of things not bad though, did you ever finish Alan Wake?
The video game?
Yeah.
Of course I did.
Okay. So, rumor has it that Alan Wake 2 is actually pretty far along.
Oh shit! Not just a weird teaser.
Not just a weird teaser. No, this is actually coming from, I guess his name is well, his Twitter handle is Special Nick, who apparently is a Xbox era co-founder. Says that he's heard that the sequel, Alan Wake 2, is pretty far along. And that's pretty much it. So, take that with what you will. But I'm excited for that, because I did enjoy Alan Wake 1. I hadn't finished the DLC for it, American Nightmare. I got halfway through it.
I quit because it didn't have Cody Rhodes in it.
Nice.
Because his nickname's American Nightmare. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I didn't finish it because it just felt like a bunch of mini games rather than like an extension of the actual story.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Not to get on a weird tangent of expansions like DLC, but like, there's so many games that have like. The Witcher, I think, is the only one that actually has really, really well done.
Yeah, because it's basically two whole other games attached to the one game.
Like, because, like, Far Cry 5, the expansions were fun, right? But, like... Blood Dragon was fucking phenomenal. Like, nobody... I mean, that's so much so they made it a standalone game. But, like, with Far Cry 5, the expansions were cool, like the weird one on Mars and, like, the Vietnam War one. But, like, they were too short. And they didn't have anything to do with the game other than like they were tied to it because the character was like going across whatever, right?
Right.
But like, at least they let you bring back let you bring back a gun or whatever to the main game, which is really unfair with that fucking incineration gun because like,
unfair but so much fun.
Yeah, so much fun. But they weren't true DLC. Like they weren't downloadable content to extend the game.
No.
They were these other little things, and they weren't long enough.
It's one of those things too where that game ended with a fairly definitive ending, but you know that they could have still been like, okay, X years later, this is what we're doing and this is what you find out. And I think they did end up actually doing that with one of the DLCs, right? Or was that a whole other game?
It was a whole other game, New Dawn.
A whole other game. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically the same. It was a direct sequel to 5.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't called Far Cry 6. Because it was literally like a literal sequel to 5. And they did a lot of cool things in that game, but also that game was kind of eh.
That's why I never played it, and I don't even hardly remember it at all. I just remember I think the two protagonists were two daughters of somebody.
Yeah, of the dude from 5.
The dude from 5, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was cool, and they did this thing where like they did this procedurally generated like side adventure you can go on, where like your buddy who's a pilot will drop you off at the place, and it's like the missions are different every single time, but not different. It's like you just go through and kill things, which is cool because like that's what the whole game is about. It's not like we're groundbreaking anything there, but it was eventually just repetitive, even though it was a little different. It just didn't do anything extra for the game other than like bring you somewhere that's a different locale than like where you're at. But it was a fun game. It was short compared to like the other Far Cry games because of those other things you did in them. But it was still fun.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, to the point of the DLC, it just seems like they've never really... I'm trying to think of other games other than Witcher where like they were just
basically full-fledged games.
Yeah, they were full-fledged game, but they were expansions of the world. You know what I mean? Like they were
way back in the day. You probably had stuff like that because those were literally sold as expansions to the base game. Like I could think of like Command and Conquer, Red Alert, and stuff like that because those were sold as expansions to the main game. But especially in recent years, yeah, I don't know. I guess Destiny technically is just still expansion after expansion after expansion.
Yeah, and it's because they that's why they definitely don't call them DLC anymore. They call them expansions because like they are expanding the story. And they're like a new narrative, but it's all like a continuative narrative.
So I guess you have that.
Yeah, and that's more of them just adapting to the game as a service type thing, which by far is like the best they've done, like the best that anybody's done. If you ask me, I know it sounds weirdly biased because I play it all the time, but it really is one of the ones that, like, yeah, you rehash a lot of the same areas over and over again as you get the new expansion, but you every time you get a new playable area, where, like, for example, the Division in Division 2, right? We were super excited when they added New York back to Division 2.
Yeah.
But it was limited to, like, what you were doing. Like, you didn't really, like, go back to the original.
Your old haunts or anything like that. Yeah.
It was all just a separate thing.
Yeah, and even then it was very limited on what you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, once you went there and maybe even farmed the whatever collectible was there. I can't remember what it was. Whatever specialty gun that you could farm there. There was, like, no reason to go back there.
Yep. Yeah. And
that
was
was
like,
the problem with a lot of the DLC of the Division. Like, they had some really cool locales, the zoo, the university, and stuff like that. But once you played through it, there was, like, no reason to go back to it.
yeah, and it wasn't even one of those things where, like, you could wander into it because it was different locations. Like, you had to board a helicopter to be, like, dropped off there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a casual, oh, I'm going to run over to this and do that or whatever, right? They didn't expand in the one world because they narratively actually made it impossible for them to do that. Like, they like, oh, this is the reason you can't go here, right? But then they're like, oh, we want to expand. Oh, shit.
Yeah, we didn't just unlock a new section of the map.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they did that a couple times where, like, they opened an area, but it was like for like a boss arena type thing. And I was like, well, you know. But yeah, it's hard to remember another game that had really, really good expansion that wasn't just like, hey, here's new cosmetics or weapons, but you're still playing the same game, you know? It's like, oh, it's not really...
I guess the weird thing is I thought of another one like World of Warcraft, but again, that's a live service type game.
Yep, yeah.
It's hard to think of a single player type game, or even just a multiplayer game that's not a live service game that had good expansion. And the only one I can really think of, at least in recent memory for that, is The Witcher. And soon, hopefully, to be Cyberpunk 2077, but those are obviously done by the same company.
Yeah.
So at least CD Projekt Red knows how to make expansions.
I'm trying to, like, I guess that's true. I looked it up. I was Googling it real quick. I guess Undead Nightmare was a really good DLC for Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it did. I never played it, but you're right. Yeah.
I mean, so much so they sold it as a separate game
within
too.
The same universe. It didn't just put you in a slightly different place and a much smaller play area. It literally was that world, but it was the undead version of it.
Well, I guess Skyrim had really good DLC too.
Okay, I didn't think of Skyrim. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what the other ones on here. On this list, I just looked up a list and, like, Google pulled it up. They mentioned the Mass Effect ones, but, like, they weren't really that good.
And a lot of the Mass Effect expansions were just, and correct me if I'm wrong, they were just like character development stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they weren't very long missions. It's not like you were getting a, Mass Effect inside of Mass Effect type game.
Yeah.
It's just another mission that you could do in Mass Effect, to either get another character or to expand upon a character's backstory.
Oh, I never played the Dishonored DLC, so I don't know if that was any good. The Fallout 3 did have some pretty good stuff.
I guess I never played Fallout. Oh, well, I guess I know I did, because there was one Alien one, I think.
Yeah, because the one that I see here is Broken Steel, which is a pretty good one.
And those were like full-fledged games.
Yeah. The one, though, like New Vegas, for example, is an example of what goes wrong when they think a DLC is good enough to be a standalone game. And then it turns out it's just a broken piece of shit. Never played XCOM because I don't like those type of games. Apparently there's a DLC for Outer Wilds, Joe.
No thanks.
Okay.
It was an okay game to play through, but I didn't really care for it. I'm excited to see what they do with Starfield, how that turns out, because I am very much tired of the aesthetic and stiffness of the look of a lot of the older Bethesda games.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I think even Fallout 76 kind of has that aesthetic and look to it, if I recall right. And I just don't care for it. It's like, update your shit finally. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Starfield has been in development for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, they're at that point they can change things and stuff. You're not like locked into certain things, but it will be interesting to see how that game looks, but also how it looks while it's being played versus like the clearly staged demos that we've been watching in the few things we've seen. Oh, I never played the Dark Souls expansions either.
I never played Dark Souls.
Oh. Yeah. See, again, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, the Shivering Isles was a really good DLC, but it was one of those ones where like it expanded on the world, much like Skyrim did with theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we brought up Witcher 3 Blood and Wine.
Mm-hmm.
I never played any more of Bloodborne after I beat it, because fuck that game.
I never played Bloodborne at all.
It's one of those fucking Dark Souls games.
Like,
it's just fucking hard as balls for no reason.
I'm well aware of what it is because it does have an interesting idea to it, but I have a hard time bringing myself to try and play those Souls-like games because I know how difficult they can be, and I don't know how much I really want to spend time into live, die, repeat.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's one of those games where like you just don't feel like you're progressing.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. And it also feels like one of those games like it's basically it's not as bad as a game that can be really described as an Excel spreadsheet, but it almost is because you're like super trying to min-max your different stats in order to have a good build.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that in-depth into things. I just want to basically want to go, that's a bigger number than what I have. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Skyrim's on that list as well. Champions, Ballads, and Master Trials. I never played any of those.
I have no idea what that is.
It's for Breath of the Wild. It was the DLC they brought out.
Ah.
It's just harder content for no reason. That's why I never played them. People say they're really good, but it's like, nah. I'm good. Thanks, though.
You do get the motorcycle in that, don't you?
Yeah, I believe that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a traditionalist though. I want to ride a horse. Not on the new one. Obviously, it's gonna have to change because you build vehicles, but I'm okay with it. No, okay. I couldn't find the other ones I could really speak to. But anyways, because back in the day, DLC for us was like when you bought like Rainbow Six Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
It was it wasn't much. It was just like a new place to go and kill things. But it was never expanded. It was never told us as it was never sold to us as an expansion. It was just like, hey, cool new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then obviously it changed down the road. And then now is, I think, just lackluster at best because I don't think they really even talk about DLC as a thing anymore, other than cosmetics and bullshit like that. Right. Like, hey, if you pre-order this, you get these things.
You get this free DLC.
Oh, cool.
Cool. It's a cosmetic. It doesn't really help. Or it's a gun that I'm going to ditch in the first 5 minutes because I'm going to find something else better.
Yep. There's a reason it was DLC, not in the main game.
Right. Speaking of weird DLC, though.
Yes.
I don't remember reading the full article here, but coming from comicbook.com, Xbox Series X users receive free Harry Potter surprise.
Yeah.
And it's apparently that it's not like everyone, if I recall right through this article. It's random people are getting free copies of Harry Potter, the Harry Potter movie. And that's what I was going to ask. Did you buy it on Xbox? If so, did you get a free copy of Harry Potter, the movie? And what did that look like?
So I got a message from Xbox. It said, hey, thanks for buying and playing Hogwarts Legacy. I was like, you're welcome. It was fun. I liked it a lot. And I need to go back and play the side stuff now. I beat the story. But I'm lazy. Which is funny because that's all I was doing is side stuff, and then like I was like, I'm gonna beat the story, and then I'm gonna do the side stuff. I've yet to do more side stuff. Anyhow, so I got a message saying, hey, thanks for buying Hogwarts Legacy on Xbox. We have a free gift for you. I'm thinking like they're gonna give me some in-game shit, right? Like a new cloak or fucking whatever, right? New broom. Cosmetic, obviously, like nothing in that game really like makes you better, other than upgrading your wizard. So I was like, all right, cool. So I click on it, and it's like, hey, here's a free copy of Sorcerer's Stone.
It's like, what?
The movie that's like 20 years old?
Mm-hmm.
That one? Okay, that's cool. So I was on the Xbox, and I was like, oh, remember, I was like, Paige, I got this thing for buying Hogwarts Legacy. She's like, oh, is it like, she said something like, oh, is it like, you know, what is it? And I was like, it's the copy of the first movie. She's like, don't you own that? I was like, yeah, but probably not an Xbox. I go to redeem it. It says I already own it. Because apparently that Movies Anywhere thing that I have,
yeah, it just ties into there.
It ties into all that stuff. So like it shows that I own that movie already, even though I didn't buy it through
Xbox,
like Microsoft, through Xbox. I bought it on Apple.
That is the cool thing about the Movies Anywhere, is that if that movie supports it, it literally is anywhere that the Movies Anywhere are supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
that was a waste.
Okay, thanks though.
Right.
But also, this is the thing that cracked me up about it too. Like after I saw what it was, I'm gonna. This may not be true, but I'm gonna say that I'm probably correct. Anybody who's playing Hogwarts Legacy,
right,
probably already owns that movie.
Yeah.
Now they may not own it digitally. They may be a psychopath that only has it on physical media.
Fair.
But it just seems like a weird thing to give them.
Right.
Why don't you give them in-game content? Why don't you give them something that shows that they're better than other people?
Right.
Because like that's what
I was randomly selected for this,
and it doesn't even matter because like there is no co-op or anything in that game. No. Which, by the way, just it begs for that fucking to have that in there. But whatever.
It should. It'd be our next co-op game.
Yeah, it would be fucking amazing. But I mean, I actually like it because it is a single player game that really just leans into solo play. But it would have been fun to fucking murder dark wizards with your friends. Right. But or even a friend, like give me a second person.
Local co-op.
Yeah, like like couch co-op. But like give me something that like I could record a video of me doing something in the game with like a fucking dumb cloak on that says like,
I was randomly selected.
Yeah, something I can be like, oh, this guy was selected. Now I can be like, I can take a screen cap of the fucking image, picture I got of like the message I got from Xbox saying, hey, thanks for being awesome and buying this game. I'm like, oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, right.
But also like, thanks for giving me a movie that's 20 years old.
And that I can't redeem.
Yeah. And granted, they probably don't know, the system doesn't know that I can't redeem it, but it's just like,
obviously.
But like, it just made me laugh. It's like, that's what you decided to give me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't even give me a newer movie. You gave me the first Harry Potter movie.
Well, they wanted to get you started.
Cause like
You've played the prequel. Now play the sequel or watch the sequel.
yeah, I'm like, all right, well, cool, bro. You know, I was like, thanks for the. I didn't know it was random though. I thought everyone who had it on Xbox got it, but
Well, no, and that's what they're reporting. At least from this article, there might have been some newer stuff that came out because this article is from the 17th, so it's like 3 days old. But they're saying that not everyone is reporting to have gotten it. It's just selected. This article was also speculating that maybe you had to have had pre-ordered it, which I don't know if you did.
technically I did because
Okay,
I pre-ordered the
again,
night before.
it might have been a pre-order, only going out to people that pre-ordered as well. So don't go run out and buy it on Xbox expecting to get a free copy of Harry Potter the movie. But
Could
yeah,
be.
and even then, it's still they're saying that it seems it's random that people were getting it.
Let's see. Let me read the message and see what it tells me because it's still in my Xbox messages, I think.
You've been randomly selected.
I remember saying something like, "Hey, thanks for, like, buying or playing Hogwarts Legacy or something." Hold on.
I think I've gotten stuff like that before for other games as well. And it usually does end up, but it does end up being like a cosmetic item or something like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing X. Here's a free, in-game shirt or something like that. Or even back in the day when they used to do the Avatar stuff. There's a free Avatar shirt, not the movie Avatar, but your not me Avatar.
No, it doesn't show up in the Xbox app. I thought it would. Or maybe it goes away after I click on the thingy. I didn't think it did though.
I have no idea because I don't watch. I don't really.
Oh no, here it
is.
is. Here it is. Found it. It says thanks for purchasing Hogwarts Legacy. You've been selected. Oh, it does say you've been selected.
Yeah,
okay.
You've been selected.
Yeah, it says thanks for purchasing Hogwarts Legacy. You've been selected to receive a free copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, PG, from your friends at Microsoft Movies and TV. Redeemable in the United States. Redeemed by console/Xbox. Blah 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 by June 1st. Enjoy, and then it gives me the code.
Yeah, so it literally could just be that they had so many, they decided, hey, let's just give away as a promotion. Let's just give it away to random people or random people who pre-order the game, and they just had let's do like a couple 100,000 or something like that. Just give it out, and you're done.
I guess so. I mean, I literally I didn't think. I mean, the wording definitely doesn't sound like I was selected, but I thought that was just like marketing speech for.
Right.
Hey, you've been selected because you bought this game from us, but apparently no.
You won something. Technically, everybody else won something too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
it
made me feel special, but also like I just thought, oh, everyone got this fucking who had the game on Xbox or whatever.
Right.
But now Joe let me know that I am special.
You are special.
Thanks, buddy. That means a lot to
You're
me.
welcome. Speaking of being special,
I was about to say the same thing. What was your segue?
my segue was to see if you've read the Expanse comic, the first.
No, I downloaded it
copy.
today though. Oh wait, did
That's
it
good.
download? I don't know.
I was curious to begin with if you, because I got the email obviously yesterday morning, or not even the email. I actually got the Kickstarter message yesterday morning. For those that don't know, the Expanse TV show ended on Amazon. They are picking up the story, at least the story in between where the Expanse left off on Amazon and where the next book technically would have occurred, which I can't remember which book it would have been after that. Anyway, so the events of the comic book take place in between those times, and it's being done by Boom Studios. Boom Studios held a Kickstarter event so that they could, give out a bunch of bonus stuff to the people who really liked the Expanse stuff. Cody Neipel backed it. So right now they just, as of yesterday, the first issue came out physically, and because it came out physically, we also got the digital copy for free.
Yep.
So anyway, so I got the notification on Kickstarter in the morning that it was available, and I was like, sweet, I'm going to read it right now. And I clicked the link, and it takes you to just a website that said Boom Studios. It was like we dot something, but the page just says we Boom Studios on it, and I was like, there's no download button anywhere here. That was weird. So I went back to it later in the day, and suddenly there was a download button.
Oh, you might have jumped a little early.
Yeah, I was wondering if you encountered that as well. But it sounds like you actually waited the whole day before you even really downloaded it.
Yeah, because I was already out on the road headed to Prescott, and I just had my phone, so...
The other thing I was going to say that I will check today, because last night I read it before I went to bed. It's a pretty interesting story to begin with. Not like groundbreaking anything right now. They're just obviously setting stuff up. But I was flipping through the ad splashes that they have at the end of it.
Okay.
And one of them is for The Expanse, and it has a QR code on it. And it says, hey, scan this QR code to enter into a contest to win a special edition variant cover, I think it was. So I scan it, and it takes me to a contest that has already ended for Berserker.
That makes sense.
Right? So I've got to check today to see if they've maybe updated that page to reflect the new contest. Anyway, I read the first issue. Like I said, it's pretty good. I like it.
We Transfer. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's the digital distribution site they use for their stuff.
Yeah. This is going to be a monthly comic too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to wait a whole another month to read the next issue.
Yeah.
Sad panda. They did say, at least in the Kickstarter stuff, that we should be getting some stuff. I think they said in December, like the first wave of certain things in December.
Yeah. So when we get the backer kit survey,
which will be sometime this week, they said.
Yeah, by the end of the week, they said it should be hitting up. That will have it's the Christian Ward cover.
Yeah.
Fuck, I might have to go to a comic book store and get it.
Right. I thought that. I was like, ooh, Cody's gonna have to go to a comic store to go get it. Luckily, we do have a comic store here in Surprise if you want to go real quick.
We could. I wonder if he's gonna have it though. Otherwise, I'll message Ken and be like, "Hey, Ken,
do you happen to have this?
Do you happen to have this?" I didn't realize Christians was I thought Christians was a variant cover. Shit.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, main cover by Christian Ward. No, that's the main cover. So variant covers are other. He has a variant cover. Fuck. So that means I have to get two of them.
Yeah.
What a fucking shame.
Comic store.
Wow, dude, the art is fucking gorgeous.
Right?
Oh my god, that's a dead body.
Yep.
That's several dead bodies. Never mind.
Yep.
There's one. There's one. There's one. There's one. There's another one.
Just counting the number of dead bodies in the first issue.
They did a real good job. The art is fucking gorgeous, man.
That's what I said. I said I really like the art.
Yeah, man. Okay. All right. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this technically will have a slightly different story than the books do.
Yeah, so that was the weird thing, like having not been in that world for a while. Either reading the Expanse books or watching the Expanse TV show, when I started it off reading it, you get to a certain point, and it's not a spoiler or anything. They're just toasting to Kamal. Kamal's death. And I was like, why are they doing that? He's alive in this series. Oh shit! No, wait, that's right. This is going off of the TV series.
Yeah.
That's right. I had that split second just thought of like, no, he's alive. Why are you toasting his death? Like, what? Nope. Wait, that's right. This is based off the TV series, and since the actor couldn't, they killed him off. Yeah, I forgot about that.
episode.
I'm looking forward to more, and I also want to enter into that contest to see if I can win something. And I also want all my free stuff because I'm really, really interested to see what that poster looks like. It's all signed and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they've posted that yet, like a final version of what it is.
The competition that is on there is for Berserker still.
Still, for Berserker, that ended in January, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So good guy, good, because it specifically says for winning a like a variant cover of The Expanse, I think.
Nope.
No? What does it say?
It says new giveaway to celebrate the upcoming launch of Expanse Dragon Tooth #1. We're pulling some of our favorite Expanse stories out of the archive for an exclusive Boom Direct giveaway package.
Oh, okay.
Scan the QR code for your chance to get ready to, chance to win and get ready for Dragon Tooth on April 5th.
Right.
Oh.
So they did the Origins.
Wait, so is the book
Origins
is
stuff.
the book out?
Is what book out?
Is the physical book actually out? Because this says April 5th.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
So we just got it, right?
Yeah, we just got the digital version of it. Did it say April 5th?
It says April 5th on it. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I didn't realize we got it later than that. I thought we were getting it day and date the same. That's why they launched it on a Wednesday.
Thought too. Well, April 5th would have been Wednesday too, but...
Well, oh, yeah, true. But I mean, that's why we got the digital edition on Wednesday.
Boom Studio. Is that
I know Boom does...
Is that their fucking website?
Does list it. Boom Studio... Wait, is it Boom Stud? Boomstud.io? Yeah, that's what it is. If you go to shop and you look at the variant, exclusive and limited edition variant covers, they do list a couple on there. Close. Stop taking up half my screen.
Yeah, stop taking up half his screen.
Where are you? They have two.
No, it says April 19th on the website.
So it does say April 19th.
Yeah, so I think this was... I wonder if they were originally going to launch on the 5th.
Maybe.
Interesting. But anyways, that QR code doesn't even bring you to the Expanse contest. It brings you to the
still
Berserk
takes
one.
you to the Berserker. So, like, I don't know what to do. Just wait, I guess. Maybe they just need to fix it. They do have a really dope variant cover that you can purchase on their website. I actually don't know who does the art on it. Who does the art? Cover artist Vance Kelly, limited to 500. It's like almost photorealistic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? I mean, for $25, not gonna lie, I almost bought it.
Ooh,
They have one on here. One of the Berserker ones is like $100. Is it still on here? Ooh, it might not still be on here. Oh no, 70. Oh, there it is. Berserker number 12, 1 in 100 incentive, $100. Anyway, so I still can't enter that contest. That's a bummer.
I guess I'll save this to my OneDrive.
I ended up saving it to books.
Was that an option?
Yeah. And then I was able to, since I downloaded it on my phone, saved it to the books, it just transferred over to my iPad.
I'm on my iPad.
You can also save it to Kindle as well if you have Kindle installed. But I figured it's a book, so I'm going to put it in books.
So here's something weird. So when you click on... That's cool. Thanks. Nope. Stop moving. Thank you. When you download the PDF, I'm on my iPad doing it, so I don't want to know what we're doing there. And no one's gonna care about this part of it, but we're still talking, so it's fine. I was in Safari on my iPad, and I click on the all share thing function on the top corner, and you would think, being an Apple stuff, it would be one of the options you have right away. It is not. You have to go all the way to the end and hit more, and then books are on there.
I think you can change that because when I did it on my iPhone, it was like the third or fourth option. Like I can change what I want on that list.
Nope, I don't have an option. I can add it to the top, but
Yeah,
that's weird. It doesn't have a little toggle switch to turn it on.
that is weird. I thought it was maybe I'm misremembering or whatnot.
Interesting.
Either way, I know that it's available for me to just push. There it is. Send to iBooks. Bam, right there.
Yeah, I don't know why it's on the iPad at least it's different. I don't know. That was strange. Anywho, I downloaded it now, and I will read it
Now,
whenever I remember.
okay, fair enough.
I was gonna save to my OneDrive, but I don't have to. I can put it in.
Yeah, just put it in your iBooks.
And it does the same thing, anyways.
Yeah, right.
Anyhow, I think that's it, sir.
That's all I got. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, this has been Comes Naturally, and we have been.
Joe.
I've been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.